Hello there. Welcome to The Patch.
Where
this
Gus...
week, brought to you by Rock Band and Trunk Club.
And The Patch where Gus has been advising Meg and I on fashion.
Fashion. I'm fashionable. Thanks to Trunk Club. They're right over there.
Which, I mean, we'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Gus, this is the first time you and I have been on The Patch
Patient.
for a long time.
It's been like a month or something, right?
Yeah.
It has been a while.
There it is.
I feel like
Balanced.
my parents are back together.
Aw.
We were late. Ryan and I just showed up to set. We were playing video games together, too.
Yeah.
What were you
before
guys
this.
playing?
We're playing we can talk about that right now, actually.
Yeah, we're playing Metal Gear Online, which
Yeah.
just launched this week,
Oh.
or yesterday.
Are
Yeah,
you
came
are you
out Tuesday.
investing in fob insurance?
So
Because it
That's-
sounds like you need to. You're going to
that's
need to pay some money to protect your digital
separate
stuff.
from Metal Gear Online. So FOB is the online integration into the single-player version of Metal Gear, which is like
It's been out since since I got the servers up. That has
Right.
been there.
A Metal Gear Online is more like the traditional, PvP. Like you would use FOB insurance to protect your base because theoretically another player could attack your base online. Like they would show up at your mother base and try to steal your people and break into your command room. So that's what FOB insurance covers.
Yeah. Okay.
The Metal Gear Online that launched today is more like deathmatch and like objective stuff.
Okay.
By the way, that FOB stuff. So I've very early on, as soon as I was able to build up an FOB, I started really building it out just because I wanted more resources and bigger size of like my departments, which lets you develop more tools and things. And I've started doing those FOB assaults to just go get more stuff from other people. No one I have seen has a big FOB as mine. And I think that
Well,
sounds like a brag.
Gus, are you
Look,
impressed?
I got a big
I'm
FOB, all right?
impressed.
But no, I think it's people were scared because the whole conversation about FOBs was that everything that you put on the FOB will be in danger of being stolen.
It can be stolen.
And so no one built their FOBs up,
That's exactly why I haven't done it.
which you can tell, like, not all of your resources go into the FOB. If you look into your resources screen, there's like this much is basically on your FOB and at risk, and this much is safe. Your personnel, they may get stolen.
What you can do is you can put your personnel under contract. So you have a limited number you can put under contract and save.
Yeah.
But still, like once you start getting a good number of people or a good number of skilled people, you don't have enough contracts to hold them all.
And the FOB insurance would basically just make it so that if you get attacked, they still, like the person that attacks you still fights your defense and still takes all your stuff. And then you just get credited.
But
with that amount.
is it, or do they take... The way I read it was a little bit confusing
cloned.
because I am not playing the game. It sounded like, yes, they take a copy of it. Like, you
Yes.
end up getting all that, like, you keep all your stuff, but they also get your
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I understand. It's like, and I think they use the word clone specifically because of soldiers. So it's like, you don't lose your soldiers like, oh, they stole a clone. Like, how do I know? Like, I started getting paranoid. Like,
How do
how
you
do
know
I
you
know
got
that?
the-
What if I keep the clone and they got the real one? And I started getting really worried about it. I was like, wait, this is stupid.
Well, I mean, that's soldiers. They clone the fuel, too. How do you clone a box of fuel?
Well, no, that I think of like true insurance, where they take
Oh,
it
they just
and
replace
the
it.
insurance adjuster shows up and is like, all
you
right, they
way
stole.
overthought
But-
this.
but
I thought
soldiers
about it
are-
a lot.
way too far with
But
that.
soldiers are actual clones.
Those are actual clones.
So
yeah.
do you have like ethical worries about clones and originals versus copies?
I think about it sometimes.
That's one
Really?
of the things that has always been a little bit scary about teleportation, right?
Oh, right.
Is the idea that if they don't teleport the atoms that are a part of you right now, they're essentially cloning you, destroying you here, and just like recreating you there.
There's been so many sci-fi things that
would
address
you know
that.
not like if you come out the other side not being the original but not feeling any different than you do now, would you be fine with killing yourself to travel fast?
Let me tell you. Let me take this on a tangent.
Ooh.
I wrote a treatment years ago for Rooster Teeth. I don't think we're gonna make it, so I'm gonna spoil it now. But it was like, so teleportation works like the way you described it, right? You go
Break
in,
down, build
break
new.
down, rebuild. What if along the way it's hijacked and another one is made and sent to like an internment camp and forced into slave labor?
Okay, you say this, but there's this book that I really, really like. I think everyone should read it. It's the Takeshi Kovacs books. I've mentioned them on the patch before, where everyone exists like you as a person. You exist within like this little pellet thing that's injected in the base of your skull, like in your spine, and it can be taken and put in different bodies. But
Interesting.
so the core of you, like your mind and your memories and all that, is in this little pellet. And but it can be backed up. And at one point, this guy ends up encountering like a young version of himself.
Young ass? What?
Like back when he was a total asshole.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. and because it was like put into storage as like insurance or something else, and then someone took it and then put it in a body, and this young version of him is it's him, but mentally younger,
like the super bro version of him,
in a physically different body, but it's still the same person.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I think about clones a lot. I think about teleportation a lot, and it's scary.
I mean, it's been addressed so many times, and like there was the it was the Hugh Jackman and
no, I know you're thinking of
magician,
the Illusionist,
The Prestige.
The Prestige.
The Prestige.
Yeah.
There we go.
Prestige.
There were the two movies that came out right next to each other.
Yeah.
One was The Prestige. Was the other The Illusionist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It's a little bit like Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Yeah, same problem.
There's so many movies that just like
Can't have
they
two
always
of
come
the
out in
same
pairs.
subject matter at the same time. But yeah, no. So that it's been addressed there. It's happened in several Star Trek episodes. Like the time Riker, they tried to beam him up, and his pattern reflected off the atmosphere, and so one Riker rematerialized on the planet, and then one was back on the spaceship.
How
And
did
then
they
later
resolve
they
that?
met back up.
Which one of them ended up dying?
Neither. Well, actually,
What?
one of them I think later on did go on to die, but one was like the evil Riker because he was trying to prove himself. Because good Riker was like the commander on the Enterprise, and so bad the Riker that rescued that had
He
been
smoked.
waiting. Well, no, one of them had a beard.
One of them did.
didn't.
Yeah.
One of them had a beard.
Yes.
That's how you know he's evil. He has a beard.
He was the no beard one.
So barefaced is evil.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Okay.
That was Lieutenant Riker versus
All right.
Commander Riker.
I'm gonna-
sorry. Let's get back to gaming.
I'm gonna
This
keep
is
a
all
close
interesting.
eye on all of the shaved dudes.
Yeah.
That was-
Uh-oh.
Gus.
Good. I'm still
No,
good.
that was for a part.
I'm good, Ryan,
People watch
today.
me. People watch me do that.
Tickler, if indeed that is your real name.
That is. I have not been reflected off the atmosphere. So yeah, we played a little bit of Metal Gear Online. It was fun.
There were three different game types. We played one of each, basically.
It's Bounty
Bounty
Hunter
Hunter, Cloak and Dagger,
and Com Defense. Is that what it's called? Or Com Attack? Or
something like that. Yeah, where it's basically Com Attack is like headquarters sort of for
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Where you have three locations that you have to, or three control points that you have to hold.
and if you take one, you can spawn there, and then it accelerates a timer.
Okay, so it's territory control.
I don't know if you noticed, and maybe you didn't because you didn't get to play the other side because we had to run over here. What that also did was whenever our team, so there's an attacking team and a defending team. So this is kind of an interesting twist in that the attacking team needs to grab control of the stations so that within a set amount of time they can acquire a whole file. Whenever we got near a station you took, my mini-map stopped working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was actually doing some intelligence denial whenever
Okay.
we were in that zone.
That's really interesting because I was using that to my advantage, and that makes a lot of sense because as a defender, I could see you guys moving to my minimap, and I thought it's weird that they're not doing anything to mask their movement because y'all were showing up, and I guess because you couldn't see your
Yeah, we
minimap.
couldn't see it when we got close.
Interesting. No, that's good. It was fun. I like the Metal Gear franchise. I just I don't know had I finished it by last week. I finished the campaign.
I don't think you'd mentioned it when we were discussing, but I don't think
I liked it a lot. So I thought maybe it was my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, but I'm gonna have to say maybe the first one still. The original Metal Gear Solid. Might have
Where
been
does it
better.
rank in your Red Dead Redemption games?
I don't like Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah, he's not a fan.
but I like Metal Gear Solid
Wait,
5. I like the Phantom Pain.
Hold on, let's explore this. Why?
I'm normally
Who
not
hurt you,
a fan
Gus?
of big open world games. Like my problem with Red Dead
okay,
Redemption
well, in
was
that
It was a guy named Marsden.
I
It was
felt
really
like
weird.
there was no motivation. There was no direction for me. It was like, oh, I can ride around and go find missions instead of having missions presented to me. It was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
So do
Gus
you?
likes to be
It was-
spoon-fed.
My laziness
And yet-
extends into the game world.
And yet you really like Fallout.
Oh, I love Fallout.
So is
I am
Fallout your
crazy about
exception to
Fallout.
that?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like GTA 4 also. Meh.
You just
I-
wanted to live in the Fallout world, is what it
I like
amounted
the
to,
Fallout
right?
world, yeah.
See, I get it to some degree because I don't really play the GTA games. I don't care about driving around cities and that sort of open world. But give me a horse and I'll ride all over the Old West.
Yeah, I mean, I used the horse for a bit in Metal Gear Solid 5, but I never even got to the point where I could weaponize the poop. I didn't. Most of the time, I used D-Dog. Like, D-Dog is easily my
Really
favorite
useful.
companion. Yeah.
Quiet's really useful, too, though.
Quiet's useful for, like, fire support, but if you, like, want to do stealth stuff and infiltration, then D-Dog's the best because he identifies every enemy on the map for you.
You can do that with her, too. You just send her in to scout it first.
Yeah.
Or
But
you
command
send
for
her in to just like distract everyone and go.
Also an option. It's very difficult to control her, though, because you have to,
Yeah.
like, go to the start menu and, like, tell Quiet. You can't just... Everything is done through a communication wheel, typically, and she's not.
Yeah.
You have to actually go to like a menu system and say, quiet, go
Well,
scout
also-
this.
Ryan,
once-
she's very quiet. It takes a little extra effort.
She literally doesn't talk. But
And then once
she
D-Dog,
can listen.
Once D-Dog gets his knife and you can command him to kill individual people, it's also really handy because he does it silently instead of having a gun.
Do you have him kill? You didn't have him stun?
No, kill. All the time.
I mean, stun's better for points, I guess, and money.
Kill I unlocked first,
Uh-huh.
and then I just never switched it to stun once I got that.
You know, the main
Gus
complaint
just
I
wants
have...
everyone in the world dead.
Well, I got to say, there's a lot of advantages to them being dead. Because no matter what, no matter how you incapacitate them, they can get back up.
Well, here's the rub. So if you incapacitate them, you can Fulton them and get rid of the body.
Yes.
But if you kill them, then you have to hide the body, and there's normally very limited ways to hide it, and invariably someone's going to find the body.
And you got to kill them too.
They're right. So
Yeah,
then you
this
end
is
up
a
with,
chain reaction of murder.
then there's a pile of bodies, and everyone's like, well, why is there a giant pile of bodies? And it's like, it just keeps getting bigger.
And the dog just keeps having to kill people.
Right.
But it's always the dog. You know, Gus's hands are clean.
No, it's awesome. If like there's two people, I'll send the dog in. He'll begin killing one. The other guy will get surprised. Then I'll sneak up behind him and like incapacitate him or
Like how excited Gus is
Yeah,
about killing people with his
with the dog.
faithful
It's
companion.
a lot of fun.
Well, the other thing is, once you get further in, like I'm at 50% completion. I just got to chapter 2, which, how many chapters are there?
2.
Just 2, okay. That's a weird thing to call it chapter 1 and chapter 2 if there's just 2. Why not just at halftime?
I finished the game and I'm only at 42% completion.
So you can do any side missions.
I've done some, but obviously not nearly as many as you have.
How much development, like the R&D and type stuff did you unlock?
All of my platforms are at level 3 out of 4. And I really haven't done anything with my FOB. Then as far as my development for weapons, I mean, I have some stuff, not a whole ton of it.
Like, I feel like I had to do a lot of side missions because I'm just constantly poor. Like, I have no
Really?
money, ever.
Just do missions.
I do the
Well,
missions.
you must be developing too much.
Maybe,
Stop
like, I
just-
want some more toys.
Yeah, stop
like, you gotta have
developing.
stuff. Plus, then, the worst part is the more you develop, there's actually a cost to deploy.
Yeah.
So if you're like, you want to go back down there? That'll be $20,000. And you want that nice toy? That's going to cost you another 10.
Normally, I develop the main weapons that I use. So, like, I'll develop a sniper rifle, an assault rifle, a pistol, and a rocket launcher. And that's, like, it. Like, I'll focus on one of each type, and then I'll just develop those as far as I can.
Yeah.
And then every time a new level comes up for it, I'll develop that. And then everything else is like, oh, if that looks funny or that looks cool, like, I'll try some experimental stuff.
Well, the other thing is it really got to be basically a kidnap simulator because the way that you level up your base is to steal
Kidnap
talented
everything?
people. Yes.
You keep them in the brig until you convince them to join your side. It's like kidnap and brainwashing.
Yeah.
And essentially you have like
They
a
even
platform
say
full
at
of
one point
Stockholm
that.
people.
I love
Stockholm
it.
syndrome
Yeah,
people.
they're like, well, just send them back to the base. We'll convince them to join. Like, yeah. So you steal them, brainwash them, and then they work for you. And then when you show up at base, they're all like, hey, boss, good to see you.
And they're
How
like,
you doing?
Oh, and then they love it when you punch them.
Uh-huh.
What?
Train with me, boss.
Yeah,
Wait,
stay with
what?
Me. Yeah. And then you like punch them, and then they're like happy about it.
Well, no. If you interrogate them, they'll tell you where they've hidden diamonds around on Mother Base.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's shit hidden all over Mother Base.
Oh, I gotta start punching them some more.
Yeah, interrogate them.
Yeah.
What, so you're poor, you found the treasure, you got a lot of money, you haven't found the
I
treasure.
haven't found the treasure. I'm about to be super double rich.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a lot more focused on my development.
Yeah, this
probably.
game sounds sadistic. I should probably
It's
play
fun.
it.
It's actually really fun.
apparently got some really messed up stuff. Like, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I've done a few bad things already.
I don't know. I think there's some missions that people thought were really crossing the line, and I was like, it's not that bad. But then again, it goes back to what
Yeah.
you're saying. Maybe I'm just a sadistic, messed up person.
I know, but in one of our monitors, you're also wearing a sombrero.
I was.
Well, we've got a sombrero on our monitor
over
over
there.
here.
Oh.
So I just keep looking at Gus in a sombrero.
What is that sombrero doing there?
Is the
I think it's there from
acting-
Free Play.
It is from Free Play. Is the acting really hard for you to take?
I mean, yeah, but that's like typical, like
I get the style.
Metal Gear, Kojima stuff. It's just like
Like over
It's
the top.
rough.
Like, look, some people really love soap operas. They can be
It's
rough,
true.
and people still really get into them. They get really invested. It just depends on how easily you can suspend your disbelief.
Well,
Can
that's
you
the thing
suspend
is
your
they don't
disbelief,
even
Ryan?
they don't
Can
even
you
make a
suspend it?
stab at you just suspending your disbelief. Like the dialogue is so weird and like way over dramatic, kind of hackneyed stuff,
that's-
and then the delivery
That
is just
sounds
like
like
I'm
you
Metal
gotta
Gear.
that sounds like you
I
gotta
get that
suspend
it's
a
Metal
lot.
Gear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no suspension. It's like we're not even going to try. Like this is just off the rocker. And I get the style. I just don't know that it works for me. Like it's like Yes, defend the base. Do it for your comrades. For justice. We must have vengeance with our justice. I mean, it's like, okay, settle down. We get it. You know?
Otakon. Not Otakon. Revolt Ocelot. And it's some of the stuff.
I don't know who's talking to me most of the time either. It's like the two, Ocelot and Miller sound exactly the same on the radio.
Yeah, I have a hard time figuring out who's talking also. And also some of like the interrogation scenes with Emmerich are also like that. They're like, well, guys, I'm telling you, I've told you everything. No.
Yeah.
It's super, super over the top.
Yeah.
And weird.
It's like really badly dubbed is what it feels like all the time.
What if you guys create a mod where you go back through the game and you do all the voices?
I am so down for that. So I move over Troy Baker, who is Huey.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just got to the end of chapter 1, so I got to watch, the longer credit sequence. You get a credit sequence after the end of every mission.
Wait, so the end of chapter 1. So there's chapter 1, chapter 2. So the end of chapter 1, that was your halftime show?
That's,
No cheerleaders? You got Troy Baker instead?
They give you...
There's Baker's Ocelot.
He's Ocelot, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I must have misread. So they give you a full credit sequence at the end of chapter 1. Then at the end of the credit sequence, there's a preview for what happens in chapter 2. Like a trailer for chapter 2.
So it's like an episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, the
Episode 1,
whole thing is
episode 2.
very set up episodically in the sense that every mission is like an episode, to the extent that they also have the directed by Hideo Kojima, and then like this episode, Revolver Ocelot, and then has the cast list for the mission, which is a mission can be like 5 minutes long depending on what you do.
And it spoils things sometimes.
It does.
You see it and you think, oh, well, that's who I'm going to be fighting?
Yeah.
Like an enemy that is supposed to be a surprise and show up halfway through the mission? Oh, no, it was spoiled.
Well, he's in the
opening
cast
credits.
list, so
Yeah.
I guess he's in this one.
Huey is voiced by Christopher Randolph.
Wow. I wasn't paying enough attention.
Who's worked on Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and Metal Gear Solid 2, A Substance.
And then
So he's really into that Metal Gear.
it's just, one of those things where there's just too many
Too
many jumps
when I-
sometimes.
when-
It's still fun, though. I love the game.
When I finished chapter 1, I thought I had finished the game.
And
Yeah.
2 episodes of As the World Turns.
There it
so
is.
So he's well suited to soap operas. See, it all works out.
It does work out.
Because at the end of chapter 1, you get that long credit
Yeah.
sequence. I was like, okay, well, that's the game. And then immediately, like you said, coming up on chapter 2, I was like, wait, is there going to... And I thought in my head, is there going to be DLC? Is there going to be more than... Oh, no, it's just you immediately begin playing
I was
chapter 2.
really confused, and it was because of... So the other thing that happens now with Metal Gear is now that the servers are up, the second you turn the game on, you get like 17 messages from the server telling you about, hey, news of the day. Hey, this is not working. Hey, you better not cheat. That's one up there every day. And, it's just like, and you have to hit next on each screen to get to the game. I knew that there was up to mission 41 at least because it was bugged. Like if you played mission 41 with
Right,
42.
with Quiet.
42?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with quiet,
Quiet.
then it would break the game. So I was real confused when I think chapter 1 ends around like 30 something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think there's more because they have bugs associated with more. And then it went into the
Immediately goes
preview
into it.
part. So I don't know. They keep taking a step forward and taking a step back in a lot
What
of ways.
mission are you on? Do you know? Roughly?
I haven't run any of them past chapter 1.
Oh, wait. Wow. Okay. Yeah. You still have a ways to go.
Yeah, I've done I think I only have 1 or 2 side missions available that are not repeats.
Okay.
When you play an open world game, is your strategy to do all the side stuff until you're absolutely forced to do story stuff and advance the plot?
A lot of times, yeah. In this case, I'm doing it largely for money, which, by the way, also, you can quick travel around the map.
Oh, yeah. He just discovered this.
What?
They don't tell you. There's a method by which you can travel from any cargo location that you've unlocked to any other cargo location that you've unlocked, which are things you just find all the time. And it's like, oh, I found one. It's like, oh, this is a cargo unloading zone. I'm like, all right. Which I guess is a thing that's a holdover from previous games. And maybe if you knew that, you would know that you just stand on it, put a box on your head, and you could transport to any of the other ones. But they never mention it.
I think they mention it much later. I think it got mentioned in passing partway through chapter 2. But I already knew about it, so it wasn't news to me.
I only found out about it from like an article.
At Una Omega on Twitter. And I echo his sentiment here, so I feel I have to read this. He says, man, it's funny and interesting to see Ryan the Twit experiencing Metal Gear Solid for the first time.
It really is. I mean, I've heard so much about the series, and then sitting here listening to Gus and Michael talk about it, it's like, Jeff and I were kind of getting a rundown on like how all this fits in. It's like,
Yeah, Michael.
This is insane.
Michael and I had almost an hour-long discussion going over the timeline of the Metal Gear universe, trying to piece it all together.
Figure out
Well,
who's a good guy.
it's tricky because the games jump backwards and forwards so much. So you've already
Right.
played the future.
Yes, you've essentially played the end at this. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 was essentially the end, and then Metal Gear Solid 5 is near the beginning, which retcons some stuff that happens later in the middle. Yeah, it's just a really convoluted. It's just one of those things where they made the game and a story, and then it got popular, and they had to make more games, and then they had to with revisionist history, kind of shuffle things
So
around
it's
a
like
little.
the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, told out of order.
Sort of, yes.
Hey.
Very
Which
asynchronous.
we'll be discussing later on.
Some of
on,
us
uh,
that
Game
did their
Club.
homework.
Here, let me read this. Speaking of homework, I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Rock Band. Rock Band 4 is now available. Rock Band 4 is the only music rhythm game with a full band experience. The breadth of music found on Rock Band 4 is so much more fun. It's now available at the link in the description below. Do we have a link? All right, there it is. It's now available. We did a live stream for Rock Band 4 launch last night.
Yeah, which is why I imagine Gus's homework was not done.
A likely
that's
story.
I was scrambling to finish it this morning as well, though, so I get it. It was a great live stream.
I thought it went really well.
It was a lot of fun. We had
lot of high energy.
four legendary bands. We had Cunnilingus with
With
a
a
K.
K.
With a K.
Yep.
With the Tickler on
Tickler.
drums.
Nice.
We had I don't remember
remember Screwtek's band name. It was like Dog Chaser.
Dog
Something
Slimer.
Slime? Yeah, Slimer.
Dog Slimer, Dog Slobber?
Slimer, I
Dog
think.
Slimer,
Yeah.
okay. And then we had, of course, Sex Swing
Yep.
up here and Casual Tuesday.
Casual
Because
Tuesday
Achievement Hunter was like, we don't feel like dressing up.
with Lady Braga.
With Lady Braga.
Which I hear
who
stole the show, yeah.
Yes,
He killed
did a
it.
great job. Honestly, the whole thing was a lot of fun. It was the developers, Harmonix, came down. They brought their kit that had all of the Rock Band DLC ever on it. So we were able to play
And yeah, it was like
whatever we wanted. Like any song that they released was there to play.
it was a crazy amount of content.
Oh yeah, there was some gold. There was a lot
That
of
got
Queen.
turned
that
back
got
into
sung.
coal on stage. That's a diamond thing, I know, but gold works too.
And
It's all carbon, really.
I don't think we're going to be able to post it, the video online just because it's complicated with all of the music rights and then putting it on
Licensing.
YouTube. So hopefully you got a chance to watch a live stream. If not, we're just talking about something you never get to see. Sorry.
Well,
But
there
it
is a
was really
forthcoming-
great.
It was really great, and there is a forthcoming Achievement Hunter video with Rock Band.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that we've managed to work around some of that. So look for that.
Yeah, I feel bad a little bit for music games. Remember, there was the music game era, and then music games went away for a little while, and now with this release of Rock Band 4, it's back, which is great. But we're also in a new era of sort of how people learn about and communicate and share video games, which is online video. But these games, with all the music licensing they have to do, they're in a really tough position with all that stuff. Like, that's kind of rocking a hard place because I feel like music licensing is one of the toughest things to work with.
Absolutely, yeah.
You say Gemma and everyone gets terrified because apparently Germany's really scary for licensing rights. Like a lot of
Is that why live streams are normally blocked in Germany?
yeah, because
Really?
they're so stringent. So for E3, for example, we couldn't stream to Germany at least one of the days because they're so strict about it.
Now, I haven't played a lot with streaming, but how do you just disable a country?
You don't.
You just
It's on
say-
the platform end.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're used to it. They're used to it. You can say no Germany.
Is it just that you have to go la 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 if you're in Germany when
No,
it
no,
comes
because
on?
you have to
or-
pay extra rights if you do that.
Oh.
You can't make any music of any kind.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No one should be surprised at this point that licensing of music is one of the most ridiculous hurdles to overcome for anything, in video games especially. It's kind of shocking that these games got made, and that
Yeah, that's one of the things that I find most impressive
Yeah.
is that they managed to get it at all.
How much of the back end money do you think? Do you think those were profitable, or did they just have to give it all to the music licenses?
Well, they had to have been profitable. I mean,
They stopped
made
making them.
multiple iterations. The studios, Harmonix is still around. They're still, making games.
And Harmonix is pretty much 100% music-based games.
Yeah. There was also Neversoft is no longer around though, and they made the Guitar Hero games. So I don't know. But who knows what happened to
Well,
Neversoft?
Yeah, didn't Harmonix started that? didn't they?
I believe.
And then went and did Rock Band.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. It's strange to say that now.
It is.
I
It
can't
is really
remember
strange.
very
I remember
well.
when it was all happening, like it was yesterday. Gus, we're so old.
So, speaking of Neversoft, the new Tony Hawk game came out last week. Not made by Neversoft because Neversoft no longer exists.
But they did work on the series previously.
New Tony Hawk game came out last week. Met with not even last week. Came out a couple weeks ago now, but met with terrible reviews. It seemed like nobody was happy with it.
Really buggy, didn't not graphically impressive in any way.
The developer has said that they're aware of the issues. And
It'd be
they're
difficult for
working
them not to
address
be
them.
aware of the issues at this point.
Hasn't this game existed for a while?
So
Like, it was finished a while back, and
Well,
then they
I
just didn't
remember-
release it.
I remember it got leaked by a catering
caterer.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he posted a picture on Instagram of a Tony Hawk 5 party that he was catering, and that's how everyone found out about it. But even like Tony Hawk's been hinting at it for
I mean, they've been
ages and
sitting on it
ages.
longer than like a Paul Walker movie.
ouch, dude.
What? They had like 12 of those come out of the woodwork after he passed.
So I don't know who this was. When the game did launch, when Tony Hawk 5 launched, a developer who did not work on the game, another video game developer, pointed out an old PR blast that Activision had put out back in 2002. And in that PR blast, they talk about the Tony Hawk license. And apparently, Activision's license for the Tony Hawk franchise ends in 2015. So now he's starting to speculate that they knew the game wasn't done, and they were just trying to shovel it out before the
They
end of
needed to get
2015
it done.
because their license on the game was going to expire. And people, okay, so if you put your conspiracy theorist hat on,
Or your sombrero.
or your sombrero, super conspiracy theorist people are saying that it was maybe even a ploy to ruin the franchise for whoever the next publisher is that gets the
Poison
name.
the well.
Right.
Is it really a hot commodity, do you
I
think?
think-
Are people really going to be competing to get the Tony Hawk license?
I think that might be that conspiracy theory. I don't buy. I think that's a little out
I feel like you could he would sell it to you for, some gum at this point. I mean, no, it doesn't have any value.
I can see them just deciding to get it out, though, and get as many sales as possible before their license expires. Look at all the games. Deadpool was a good example where they pull it from digital shelves. It just becomes impossible to buy because the license reverted. So if that's the case here, then, the end of the year, they can't sell Tony Hawk anymore. So they may as well get whatever they can out of it.
Yeah, like one last cash grab before it goes away.
I was going to say hurrah, but yeah, I think that may
Cash
be
grab
that may
seems,
be a little bit too celebratory.
Yeah, cash grab seems apt.
People grabbing cash usually look really happy. I mean,
So I'm going to look into this a little more. I want to say that they signed that license back in 2002. Yeah, it was back in 2002. They signed that 13-year deal. It's just ending now in 2015. They sold it. I mean, they signed that license so long ago. It was after the fourth Tony Hawk game.
wow.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that seems absolutely crazy to me. But anyway, so there you go. There's your little bit of legal background and your potential conspiracy wranglings for the week. Enough about that. So Ubisoft announced Far Cry Primal. This
Sort of
past
by
week.
accident, yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't by accident. There was they
think
were very
IGN leaked
deliberate about it, but IGN Turkey tweeted about it something like 18 hours early. While Ubisoft had a stream running at the time. It was a cool stream. I had it going all day. It was like you're looking at like cave art on the wall, and it's gradually zooming out and showing more and more cave art, and then eventually it'd show it'd take a little cave art saber-tooth tiger and it would attack some cave art men, and then go back and just be cave art again. It's kind of relaxing in a creepy sort of way. But while that had started and had been going for a couple of hours, and then suddenly IGN Turkey tweets this thing.
How mad must the creator of that experience be? That's like, we had this amazing slow reveal, and somebody just blows it with a tweet.
Fucking furious. I'd be so mad.
That sucks.
But that said, I'm really excited.
The game is due to come out in February, and it's Far Cry in the Stone Age setting.
Yeah, so it's 10,000 BC, which kind of has people concerned because it's like, if Far Cry is Skyrim with guns, then Far Cry Primal is Skyrim without guns?
Skyrim with
Or
Skyrim.
magic?
Skyrim with spears.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have bows and arrows, but
And some people are telling us that quivers weren't invented by 10,000 BC. So we'll
could
see
just
how
hold the
we'll see
arrows.
how historically accurate this gets.
Wait, whoa.
But
The quivers weren't invented? Like bows, sure, but a place to put arrows. Slow
look,
down.
I'm just passing on the knowledge that was presented to me by budding paleontologists.
It's like I picture someone holding a bunch of arrows, thinking, "Surely there's a better way." Like all these little cuts on them, like all these dicks. Like
Maybe they just stick one in, like hold it there for a second, and then be like, I need this now.
in the future, we're gonna have even bigger arms, so we can hold more arrows. I'm on your side, Ryan. This seems like an easy fix. If once you've mastered the concept of making a bow and making arrows, making a pouch to put them in.
Maybe they didn't have pockets at that point. Maybe nobody had anything to put anything in.
I want to know if you get to invent the wheel as part of this game. Because if this is
What are you going to do with it? Roll it down a hill at something?
Get 4 of them together and then make a car that you pedal with your
now
feet.
you're inventing a cart. Slow down now.
Well, yeah, but you
We just got the wheel.
You have to pedal it with your feet.
Like
I've
Fred
seen the
Flintstone
Flintstones.
style.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can get a unicycle.
But this,
Just a mental image of like a Far Cry game when you just rolling down a hill on a unicycle.
a stone unicycle and your bow and arrow.
Oops, I'm out of arrows now because I don't have a pocket.
I invented a wheel, but no quiver.
I do wonder how serious it's going to be. I imagine this, based on the teaser trailer they released, it's not as goofy in tone as, say, Blood Dragon was, but it is their non-numbered entry in the series, so they can go a little bit crazy with it. That said, it's also Stone Age. You have spears, you have bows and arrows, maybe you have quivers, slings possibly, so I don't know how crazy you can get as far as weaponry. I mean, do you invent the Molotov cocktail? First, you invent alcohol.
Hey.
And then invent the Molotov cocktail. Look, there could be
Let's
like
be honest.
this tech tree here.
After you invent the alcohol, you probably don't go out and attack anybody else. You're probably just happy with what you got.
Right. Instead of trying to, like, all the other tribes trying to kill you, they're just trying to come to your house party.
Right. Yeah. And you throw the first
I'm sorry,
kegger.
cave party.
There you go.
So it seemed to me, based on what I read, that the reveal trailer that they had might be like the opening cinematic for the game, because the premise that they described for the story seems like exactly what you see in there, where you're the sole survivor of a hunting party that goes out and gets attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. So then it seems like that is probably going to be like the intro cinematic for the game, and that's going to go from there.
I could see that.
It's kind of concerning though, because in the sense that Blood Dragon was great for as long as it was. Like it had a shtick, and any longer than that probably would. I remember getting to the end of that and going, that was the right length. If I had to do another one of those or another quest or another whatever, I would have been over what I was into for this. With this, they're billing this as like a full game length. It's not even like a spin-off DLC. So.
Yeah, they said it's going to be on scale of like a Far Cry 4 of a numbered entry. So where Blood Dragon was initially DLC and then released standalone, this they're treating as a Far Cry game.
Blood Dragon, though, you never needed to have the retail game.
You didn't. It was DLC, but not.
Right.
It was
Standalone.
weird.
Yeah.
Standalone DLC.
Oh, cool. I lost the Wi-Fi again.
And the other
Congrats.
thing I'm kind of curious about is how you fast travel? Like, you really have to have some method of getting around if the map's going to be on scale. So are you going to start riding elephants, or you got to have some conveyance, right?
Mammoth Express.
There you go. I mean, you got to have something, right?
Just catch the nearest antelope by the horns.
Anything, yeah. You're passing animals, you're just riding, streaming along behind it. But
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
either that or it's a tiny map. I don't want to stroll everywhere.
we don't
make me.
have that long to wait. It's just until February, so I imagine that we'll be getting a lot of information in the next couple of months as they get closer and closer and closer. So I don't think any of this is going to remain a mystery for very long. But I like the ideas. I do like the idea of catching wildlife.
Taming it, making it your own. Maybe you have to build like a base, like a agrarian society.
Like
Maybe
an
build
FOB,
a farm.
and
Yeah,
you have to get insurance.
there you go. To protect yourself from. You can be the first 10,000 BC insurance salesman.
You could be...
That's a real nice yak you got there. Be a real shame if anything happened to it. Let me show you a line of products I
So
got
what you're
for
saying
yak
is you
defense.
started the first mafia.
Hey, now you're shaking them down too. Like, hey, it's a real
I
nice
thought
yak
that's what you
there.
just did.
Well, no, insurance is the same pitch as mafia.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to do anything to your yak, but if something happened to your yak,
It'd be a shame.
it would be a shame.
Oh, I was going to say you could have the Metal Gear crossover. You'd be like Stone Snake. Like where it all began. Like the only way to tell any more stories is to go way back to the very
Look,
beginning.
at this point, you could probably convince me that was part of the canon, okay? It's that off the wall.
It's a little loopy. Here, I'm going to read this other one. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by Trunk Club. Shopping is awful. Who has the patience for crowded stores or the time to try on 10 pairs of pants that don't even fit well? Here's the problem, though. You still want to look great. And with Trunk Club, you never have to set foot in the mall again. Trunk Club takes all the hassle out of shopping by shipping you a trunk of clothes that fit perfectly and make you look like $1,000,000 with all the new fall styles. At trunkclub.com/thepatch, you answer simple questions about your style, preferences, and size, and you're assigned an expert stylist. They curate clothes from the best premium brands, and you approve of what you like. And just like that, a trunk arrives on your doorstep, filled with hand-picked clothes that are perfect for you. Try them on, keep what you like, and easily return what you don't in their prepaid trunk. It's not a subscription service. You only pay for the clothes you keep from your trunk. No hidden charges, just great clothes. And right now, the entire styling service is free, even the shipping. You only pay for the clothes you keep. So to take advantage, go to trunkclub.com/thepatch. One last time, that's trunkclub.com/thepatch for a trunk filled with clothes that you'll love wearing. Right there. Go check them out.
I'm excited. They're starting to do Trunk Club for women.
Yeah?
I've been jealous of you guys for months. You get all these cool trunks with grown-up clothes. And now I'm finally going to get grown-up clothes. I'm going to have more than video game T-shirts to wear.
The trunks are cool.
Yeah.
They're well
Wait,
designed.
you mean video game T-shirts aren't grown-up clothes?
Apparently not.
Oh, I don't want to grow up.
Grown-up's fine. You look good. I look good. Wow, they really laughed at that. That's a little hurt. It is a little hurtful.
No, you remember, like, you start getting Trunk Club, and immediately all of us in the office were like, damn, Gus is looking good these days. Dressing snappy.
There it is. Oh, all right.
Nailed
That
it.
pose turned evil a little bit there.
A little bit.
That's evil Gus is because he shaved.
So I did not experience this firsthand because I own Destiny on the PS4. So maybe one of you can explain it to me. So apparently, the Taken King can just show up on your PS4 if you don't own it. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know how that works. Is it just like, I don't know if it downloads the whole game or if it's just like an icon that pops up and you can click on it and it encourages you to download it.
Well, I mean, the Taken King isn't really. I mean, if you're talking about just unlocking it, like all the other content is downloaded as a patch no matter what. If you want to have access to that additional leveling, then it's just like a tiny, like 200K patch that just unlocks it. It's like whenever you have a pre-order game where it's already there, but you just get that last little bit that says you can play it for realsies.
Yeah, so it's an ad. It's just placed,
Oh,
so
okay.
it looks
So
like it's
a
not.
game.
Oh, clever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's that started appearing with the 3.0 update of the firmware. It's just a promotion for it, so it's not actually downloading, installing anything, using up your bandwidth. It's just when you go into your stuff, it looks like you have Destiny, and then you go and click on it. Goes, do you want it? Yeah, and then you have to get it if you want it. But you can turn it off. Apparently, there's a way to get rid of that.
I guess, yeah, it's part of their personalized, curated content.
There we go. You go to system. Oh, wait, maybe it does download it. Hold on, look at this.
The plot thickens, I guess.
Oh no, it's still a link, but
No,
you can
just
go
an ad.
in, say, go into your system settings, go down to automatic downloads, and then uncheck featured content, and it will stop those from showing up. So that not only will Destiny not show up, but future games won't pretend to be installed on your PS4.
Right. Pretend.
That's the key word, as long as they're pretending.
They're
Right.
suspending disbelief as well.
In other Destiny news, I guess they're updating their business model next week
Really?
to add microtransactions.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're adding in the emotes, right? That's the main thing, which
Right.
I've always kind of felt like if you're going to do a microtransaction, then at least if it's cosmetic, then it's not really affecting most people's gameplay.
I agree to some degree with that if you're going to do it, then it needs to be cosmetic only. But this is also a full retail product, and they've also just released an expansion that was nearly as expensive as the game itself. And they may not call it an MMO, it's still an MMO, and emotes tend to be part of that social experience, and now they're going to charge you for that.
Well,
So
from what I've also read, though, I mean, I get that concern, but I've also read they haven't officially announced it, but of course, anonymous sources, people with inside knowledge, are saying that this is part of them changing their plan for future content release. That, and I'm going to read here an article on Polygon, that Activision is looking to change its entire downloadable content plan for Destiny. Instead of releasing paid expansions like the Dark Below and House of Wolves, Activision and Bungie will deliver new quests and missions for free, likely in big drops every few months until fall of 2016.
well,
Interesting.
what that says to me is that if they were to do that, it means that they think they can make more from selling microtransactions than they can for charging individual players $40.
I mean, it's been a big business model for Team Fortress.
It has been, but it's also a business model that depends very much on whales. It is a very small percentage of the playing population that will pay a lot of money to get all the stuff they want. But
you're not looking for the people that are looking for a lot of money.
Like me.
You want the people that just want that one. Like they want that dance, or they want that point or that salute. They want that one specific thing. It's like, oh, it's 99 cents. I can throw 99 cents at that.
Yeah,
Sure.
but 99 cents isn't $40.
It's not. But
I mean, are they then counting on people over time paying the equivalent of $40? Like, what's the? I guess I'm trying to figure out like what's the upside there. Like, if you can get a guaranteed $40 from people or 99 cents, as a business, you'd think that you'd take the $40 unless the Taken King adoption was a low enough percentage
Right. It's like
that it doesn't add up. That means like 5%.
Yeah, if you
2% would have had to do
bigger
it.
net with people contributing less instead of continuing to funnel down your base and having to pump them for more.
So the missions just keep people coming back, and then the little add-on things that keep them, maybe spending some more into the economy. The other thing is, with the way that they've built this game, they're not probably going to be employing a whole lot of people to do these extra missions because they're just going to run people through the same areas that you've already played in. With the Taken King, they introduced a new zone, the Dreadnought, and a couple other areas. You got further in that maybe you had before. Whether they were there before or not, I don't know. I mean, if their door was closed, maybe that didn't exist. Maybe it was there and they just didn't have a use for it yet. Maybe they had expansion zones built in. So I imagine that the missions that we will get between now and fall will not be on the same order as the Taken King. It will be, okay, here, you go back to the Cosmodrome. Great place.
You love the Cosmodrome. You know
went
that place.
this way that one time. Now let's go this way. The opposite way. You won't recognize it as much that way, right? I mean, that's how most of their missions are built. Even with the Taken King, a lot of them are that way. I will say what I do like that they've been doing lately is, since you've finished the Taken King primary quest line, there's a bunch of supplemental quests that come up after that that keep you kind of engaged. And lately what's been happening is a lot of the daily heroics have had secrets in them. So there was one where you could get a exotic sniper rifle if you went a different path and fought another boss. At the end of that, you would end up getting an exotic sniper rifle called the Black Spindle. There's been another one that people are just kind of figuring out right now. There's been a mystery gun kind of on the books forever, which was a heavy fusion rifle. I forget the name of it. And just now we've discovered how you might start going about getting that. So they're using, and yesterday's Daily Heroic, there was a thing where you could find some hidden ghosts. And these are dependent on being the Daily Heroic, because if you wipe at any point during doing the Daily Heroic, all that stuff goes away. And you can't do it on just hard mode of the normal mission on the map. So it's been really impressive how quickly people have found this, unless maybe someone's leaking it to kind of like
get it started.
You kind of wonder,
like
some of
seeding
them,
it.
Some of them are like the one where you find the 3 extra ghosts was really obscure. I mean, you have to go way out of your way from the normal mission path to locate it. So, yeah, I kind of wonder if there wasn't something hinting towards it. There's such a group of people, though, online that are so familiar with the lore and the cards and all the different things. They're like, in this picture, you can see in the background, there's like this picture, and this gun is associated with this character, and that character is associated with this location. If we look at this location, and then they find something.
I had the picture of someone with pictures and yarn connecting it all.
I think that might be what's going on. Like, there are people with basements, just the giant walls with nets all over the place.
See, that's the way I see trying to put together the Metal Gear timeline.
It's
Pretty much.
not that bad. It's
No,
confusing.
he's
but
a clone of him, but only on Tuesday.
oh, the Tuesday clone. I see you're familiar with the lore. But it's cool. I think I like their new idea of releasing the content for free and switching to this, because like I said, I think it's encouraging keeping the player base big.
I mean, another example of someone doing that has been GTA, basically. For about a year after release, they were putting out like more stuff. I mean, it would be like release like Valentine's Day, where there'd be special cars and guns and things like that, but you'd have to use the currency, and the currency, if you didn't happen to have it, you would buy their cards. So there were ways of driving the microtransactions with just doing regular content releases.
Yeah, they're still doing updates, right? Not as much, and
Much less.
they've said that they're not going to do any more for last gen consoles. But we're still waiting to hear anything about additional story content for GTA, aren't we?
Yeah.
They keep saying it's coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They said it's. I didn't know
well,
that.
I think they said that they want to do additional single player stuff, but so far everything they released has been for GTA Online. It works like the stuff is in single player as well, but they haven't released any single player specific
Interesting.
content.
Well, they did take them a year to get it out, so.
Right, for heists?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how long it takes to get the single player content. That said, when they put out single player content, it tends to be worth it. Like the stuff they did for GTA 4 was huge.
Yeah, I thought that ship had sailed. I didn't realize that was still a possibility. I'd be interested
they've
to
got the
replay
platform.
some GTA 5 single player stuff.
I kind of wonder if they won't just go back and release a whole new character set essentially for a single player experience instead of trying to
Like
pick
another
up.
campaign?
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are options in the GTA 5 campaign where you may have altered who the makeup of your group was. So you can't necessarily move forward with that without just locking in a choice for people or building it twice. So maybe they do more like Ballad of Gay Tony, where you just have a whole new character set.
Well, I mean, they did that. It was Ballad of Gay Tony, and what was the one with the bikers?
Yeah,
The
pretty
Lost
much,
and the Damned?
pretty much
Lost in the
everything.
Damned. There we go.
because,
So, like, yeah, their stuff was similarly like that, like telling new stories in the same place. So that's entirely possible.
They kind of had to because of the voice actor and his kind of rebellion against not getting paid enough.
Man, I wonder if that voice actor's like, should have got that Fallout 4 contract. There were so many lines. so many lines.
I'm looking forward to
Fallout
4.
Russia.
Do we have the timer?
Do we
put
have
him on the
a Fallout
spot.
4 timer?
Do we know that's... Eh?
You like
Yeah?
putting them on the spot.
I
don't
do.
you?
I'm sorry.
We
No,
have- we
that's all
have-
right. Whenever it's available, it's cool. You
Right,
don't have
Ryan,
to
we
worry
have
about
a
it.
specific show for that.
We do?
On the spot.
On the spot.
Oh,
Yeah,
on the
it's-
spot.
yeah, sorry,
I got
my
it.
bad.
It's
Yeah.
not
My
Thursday.
bad.
No.
So we also have the. I see they're pulling it up. I see it in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
So I guess some news came out. Put it up whenever you have it ready. I guess some news came out. I guess 343 was talking about Forge in Halo 5 and about how essentially they've revamped it, trying to make it more user friendly. Like they brought in people who were big in the Forge community and had them give advice and notes and how it's just supposed to be huge and ridiculously big. And I think that Halo 5 just went gold
It did.
yesterday, right?
It just went gold.
So
It was either yesterday or potentially today, but it's gone gold. It's really exciting.
So yeah, coming
It's-
out October 27th.
Yeah.
That's right around the
it's
corner.
So much closer than it feels like. It
Ridiculously.
feels like we still have all this time before holiday because the holiday rush hasn't started yet, and normally it's underway
Yeah.
by this point. So I feel like holiday is still really far away. It's not.
We got 20 days. Let's get a new timer for. No, just kidding. Just kidding. We don't need a timer for Halo.
That's no. We can just do 20. We'll see.
I think I can count down from
Hold
20.
on. Hold on. Somebody else each of you hold up a hand. There we go.
Oh, wait. Do we need to put both hands?
No, just one hand. There we go.
What are we doing?
I was making a 20.
Oh, I get
I was
it.
making our own counter.
Then they also released their live action commercial for Halo 5. And they'd previously released that teaser. And I was
There are
actually
two versions, right, of the teaser.
well, I was really underwhelmed by the teaser that they released a couple of weeks ago, where it's people on Earth in the future watching the news on TV that Master Chief has died. But even though it's supposed to be the future, it didn't look futuristic at all.
Well, are you just upset that you're like, they wouldn't be watching anything on TV
It's like,
in the future?
Oh, they're in a future diner.
Hey, people got to eat in the future.
Yeah. Oh, now they're in a future warehouse. Like it
People got to ship stuff in the future.
just didn't. It just felt weird. And then, of course, they released the full, I guess, the longer version of it recently, and Master Chief's not really dead. Spoiler. That's just the official story, and then they're sending in Locke unofficially to find him and try to rein him back under control.
Is that really a spoiler? If you played the game, you kind of know, right?
No, just spoiler for the ad campaign,
There
I
you go.
guess. But it just made me think of it when I first, and also the other thing that annoyed me about the teaser. They're saying, "Oh, Master Chief's dead. We're sorry to report." The passing of Master Chief, all this stuff. It's like it just made me think of what was it? Was it the Halo 3 ad campaign where they had like the diorama and then like they show
I remember
the
that.
brute
Yeah,
holding up.
was that the one with the stars?
That's the Believe campaign. I think
That's
it
the one
was.
that people like unlocked by tweeting it or something, and each tweet would add a star into the constellation that eventually like made up the whole thing. Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but I felt like this was recycling the whole. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's not. You know, because
It really does step it back a ways.
It is, but I also feel like this this campaign and this story has tended to focus a lot on what people think they know versus what's actually going on. That's been, that there was the whole thing. There was a campaign that came out. It was one of Master Chief shooting Locke and then one of Locke shooting Master Chief. And it's very much, it's like what propaganda versus what's actually happening. You don't necessarily know. What is the truth? Where is it? And all this stuff. So I feel like they're really pushing hard on that. And I feel like it's going to play a big part in this story.
Yeah, I think they released those ads a long time ago. That was
Those
early
are-
this year,
those
like
are really
February
long
or
time
March.
ago.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is crazy to me that they started promoting it that far in advance. Then those ran on television. I saw them on TV fairly regularly.
And it was the same scene transposed too. It was the same two characters in the same basically positions.
At the
or flipped though.
Limbix on Twitter also says that was not necessarily Earth. He thinks it was supposed to be the outer colonies. It was a future warehouse and or future diner on a future Earth.
There you go, future stuff.
Everything's future.
I agree. I also think it was a colony, but
Look,
still, it was like
warehouses are still going to exist in the future. Just what's in the crate's going to be different.
What's in the
future stuff.
crate?
Yeah, it's
What's in
future
there?
stuff in the crate.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm still excited about the game. I'll still play it, a ton of it. I'm sure when it comes out. I'm really worried. I feel like there's so many games. We're getting that time of year that worries me every year, where there's so many games coming out, and I don't know how I have time to play them.
I feel like that's going to be February now.
Yeah, this month is
This month we've got Halo. This month we've also got Fallout. But
No, Fallout's
oh my
next
god,
month.
Fallout's
Yeah, Fallout's still
okay. So this month we have
34
Halo.
days away.
there you go.
This month we
Got
have
it?
Halo.
If only we had a
next
timer.
month,
You got it?
next month we've got Halo, Fallout. There we go.
33 days.
Next month is also Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed is this month.
Syndicate.
Shit, I forgot about Assassin's Creed.
Ooh, when is that?
Assassin's Creed, and then we've got Battlefront coming out.
Battlefront, which by the way,
Twitter, let me know if I've missed. Yeah, it is this month. Okay, that's what I was. Okay,
23rd? Oh,
cool.
fuck.
Yeah, it's coming up. And then we've got Battlefront. So Twitter, let me know if I've missed any of the big ones. I feel like a lot of titles moved out of the period.
So I think the ones I'm looking forward to in February are like, obviously Far Cry Primal. The Division is also February, right?
is it on the books for February?
I think so.
And didn't Rainbow Six also got pushed to February?
It did get
Oh,
pushed.
no, I'm thinking of Rainbow Six that got pushed to February.
I think the Division
thought-
doesn't have a date yet.
Yeah, the Division's always been all over the place. I don't think they've ever said you can
Oh
finally
no,
have the game.
no. Well, let's see. There's a rumor that it's coming in February. Maybe released February 28th, possibly. That was a rumor as of June.
I see March 8th, 2016.
Do you
Okay,
think
great.
they put it at the end of the month? Like whenever they're releasing these that far out, they're like, oh, the end of February,
March
the 28th,
8th. No, you're
29th.
right, March
When
8th.
You roll it to March. It's like, oh, it's just a couple of days.
Your Google foo is stronger than mine. You're
It's
fast.
difficult. I typed the Division release date.
I typed the Division February. So I was seeking a confirmation. It turns out it was an incorrect one.
You wanted the internet to tell you you were right. He just wanted the information.
Well, now we know a lot about each of us, don't we?
Yeah, so there are a lot of big titles, and I feel like we're forgetting a bunch of stuff that's supposed to be coming out in February and March as well. I think there's
Yeah, there's a
of other stuff.
lot of
XCOM
stuff
2
that's
that-
coming.
well.
That's
XCOM
coming
2
in
got-
February. So yeah, there's so much
But
that's coming.
right now, February is the dumping ground for every pushed game, which that doesn't feel to me like it's really going to happen.
you think they're going to push to the next quarter after that?
I think they're just like, if February. And everybody said February.
Well, I think that we're starting to see a lot more February stuff.
Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is
what I'm excited
November
about.
10th.
I think that for a long time, if developers didn't meet or publishers didn't meet their holiday release, you're right. They would push to summer or later. And I felt like for a long time, the beginning or the first half of the year was just empty. It's just like shovelware for the most part. I'm happy to see more high quality titles coming out in February because it gives us more to play in leading up to the summer.
Plus, you got to catch all that Christmas money. I mean, there's still some of it left by February.
Yeah.
People are, kids are ready to buy at that point.
Well, they're done with the other games. Now they
Yeah.
got to find the new one, the next one.
There you go.
It makes sense. I'm all about it.
None of them are scared, though. Like, every one of these games is just ready to go right to the wall with every other one of them. Like, none of them feel... They used to be those, like, there's one title that no one wants to go against.
I feel like this year that's Fallout.
I guess, but there's... How many other games coming out the same month?
Fallout?
Tomb Raider's coming out the same month? We just went down that list.
Tomb Raider, yeah, but it's not as many. Like
That's true.
a lot of holidays, I feel like there'd be 20 AAAs in November.
Did you say Call of Duty was October?
I think it's November.
November,
Call of Duty
okay.
is always November.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, did Fallout scare them out of November?
No, but that would be amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're almost out of time. Just a couple of things I want to mention. So
VR.
Microsoft had... What?
The VR costs.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going.
Yay! Because,
Microsoft
this is crazy.
had a press conference the other day. They showed off HoloLens again, and they said that development kits for it were going to cost $3,000,
And you have to apply to give them $3,000 for it. You can't just go and buy one.
which is very expensive. Because I think, how much should we pay for our DK2? Like the Oculus
$350.
DK2 was $350.
Yeah, but in relation to that, Palmer Luckey said that Oculus is probably going to cost more than $350 when it goes retail. And not long ago, I think it was Sony said that they're planning on PlayStation VR costing, like, being a console level
price.
purchase. So it's, we're talking, in the $300 to $500 range. VR is going to be expensive.
Well, I mean, here's the thing you got to think. It's basically a 4K monitor. Granted, it's this big, which makes it slightly more expensive, actually, but it's still basically 4K resolution. So those are expensive. I mean, it's the same, like a cell phone is actually that much. You don't normally pay that because you are getting that whole contract thing. But that size of miniaturation of that resolution of a screen costs that much money. That's not really that shocking.
Just Cause 3 is in December.
Ooh, Just Cause 3.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that game.
And Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah. I talked about
Sure.
that. I'm excited for that game. I talked a bit about that on the podcast
So
this week.
cute.
I was jealous because Greg Miller got it early, and I haven't played it yet.
Of course you did, that asshole.
Yeah.
Let's go to his house.
Let's send your dog after him.
We'll have dog fights.
We'll send Meg's dog after him.
Hey!
Yeah.
I think he's got the same kind of dog, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have a little fight club. Wiener fight. Yeah. But
And then so VR's
I'm just worried about it. Like,
HoloLens is a whole other thing.
HoloLens is a whole other thing. It's augmented. It's still very early on in the process. But just the same, there's potential for it to be more than a gimmick. For VR to be more than just a gimmick. There's a real opportunity for it to be a huge game changer. Like, for the first time, I feel like people are taking VR seriously. Remember, people have been trying to make VR headsets for
decades.
And this is the first time I feel like they're actually getting the kind of traction that they need to make it happen and to be more than like that stupid thing that someone tried that one time. But if they're going to be that expensive, how can they sell to a scale to really make that difference?
I mean, that's the consoles are selling at that price. Which, again, HoloLens is a very different beast than anything else. HoloLens is not based off of existing technologies like the VR headsets are. Those are
and
very
Rainbow
simple
Six Siege
to...
and Need for Speed. So, okay, there's some movies, there's some games coming
There's a
out.
few
It's
things
fine. There
coming
are
out.
going to be some games coming out. More than I realized.
Like
But still fewer than I thought.
The VR headsets that are coming out are based on technologies that have already exist and are already manufactured and much cheaper to make. Microsoft is having to build its own industry to make these headsets. So they're going to be more expensive. I mean, we already know that the FOV limitations on them.
I was going to say, if I'm going to pay $3,000, can I at least get the hologram to the edge of the screen? That'd be great.
Here's the other thing. When you're talking about a dev kit, you're not talking about a product that isn't necessarily ready for consumers anyway.
Right.
So it's something where they can hopefully, through the process of the dev period, get the cost down on the units by getting the infrastructure up and running where they're actually cost per unit for them is not as bad. When your dev kits are usually pretty close to like at cost when you're selling it to a dev.
Right.
Because you want them to have these to start developing stuff for it, which is actually kind of one of the things right now that I think Oculus has going for it over Vive is those units have been out there being developed for a lot longer than the Vive unit has.
True.
People are turning around quick, and it's really the fact that Unity and Unreal Engine have built-in support for them is probably more important than the fact that Oculus has been around longer. But there's still just people that know more about working with Oculus than any of the other ones right now in the field. So
yeah, what's been, like you said, it's been more available for longer. People are just more familiar with it. It's a more familiar name still.
Yeah.
All right, but I have faith in Valve and their ability to put out quality stuff for it.
Well, HTC.
Well,
Valve has nothing to do with it, really.
But they have built demos for it.
They do.
So
yeah,
they will have
in
software
association
support.
with. Like, it's partnered. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah. But
All right, well, it's time. We've got to wrap up. So thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for some Game Club.
Yeah.
Bye.